shit was that? We still got glitches in the matrix. Look at them flow down. Oh, look at them. Look at them flow down. Matrixing all those symbols that we have traded, that we trade, that we swear we'll never fucking trade again. Matt, it's a Monday. Happy Monday to you. Last week of June, last week of the quarter, last week of the first half year. For all you chartists out there that love fractals, we get a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, and a half year chart roll this week. Very exciting for me, Matt.
It is very exciting.
Always.
All-time highs. All-time highs.
All-time highs bobbing like a dead cat. Literally, like a dead animal just floating on the top. That's all-time highs. Matt, exciting for the Canadians. And I'm not talking about just the Canadians from Montreal, man. I'm talking about the whole country as they have a Stanley Cup contender.
Do you think these fans are rooting for those guys?
Fuck no.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Maple Leaf fans that dream. I
didn't have any Tampa Bay swag. This is the closest I could get, so I put it on.
Beautiful. Early line, Matt. You got to lay $250 to win your $100 if you want to bet on Tampa Bay.
I mean,
on the flip side, you Montrealers have to take your 82 cent. You have to buy. You have to take $1.32, right, to get $1 US, right? But then you only have to risk that dollar to get $200, and then you get to parlay that back into more. It's a giant bonus on the way back in, not so much on the way out.
A little expensive on the way out.
And maybe we should talk. You know what? We like to bob and weave in Market Vitals. Let's look at that Canada chart. If you don't want to, if you're not prepared, that's the beautiful thing about long-time technical analysts or market flow. I need about 38 seconds to tell you what I think.
Well, I just need a little time to get it up on my screen, and I'm buying that time.
Bring up the Canada, because I talked about this, how it had made a nice run. October of 2020, down around 75 cents, made it to 83 cents. Right? Wow. Now I got to tell you, when you look back and forth between the standard deviation analysis and then the profile analysis, that is very, very engaging in my thought process, right? That this thing has a lot more uncooking to do.
It does. And this rally,
you can't lie about what the meat of that profile looks like and where the point of control is.
It's down here at 78 cents or so, and we got down to 80 on that first crack. Pretty big, pretty significant crack too. Basically erased that move that you were part of there in April. And actually, I think you were probably right around here, right around 81 is when you liked it. Then it went to 83, and then it just chopped for a month and a half, and it broke finally. And it's kind of like there's a lot of things that look this way right now, Bob. I don't know. I'm not too, again, I wasn't bullish. I was bearish when you were bullish. So I'll continue to be bearish here.
Well, I do like your side of it now. Hold on. Continue with more. Fractal out just a little bit, man.
Well, this is a pretty long term, but it's an 89 minute going back a bit. But if I give you a weekly chart, Bob, it's pretty much in balance. Balance is around 75 cents also, but not really going anywhere. That's weekly going back 20 years there. Is that far enough for you?
When did they get their independence? Wait a second. When did they ask politely long enough to get their independence? I don't know. I didn't bring that one up, but I wanted to talk about a tweet from fucking what's his name? Peter McCormick. He's a Bitcoin maximalist.
What Bitcoin did?
Yes, Peter. Well, I disappeared myself.
Yeah. Magic.
And he said the British accent is a huge advantage. I'm not sorry. And I immediately thought the British accent was one of the driving forces for our independence, because it is so I mean, I don't know of an accent that's more smug and righteous and, and degrading and talked down to than that accent. I mean, at some point they're like, yeah, these taxes suck, but I am sick of the fucking way this guy's talking to me. And by the way, Shakespeare didn't speak with the accent. It happened after him when they wanted to separate the classes in the UK. I read that. I'm not even 100% sure about it, but I'm going to stick with it. Anyway, that would actually be a segue to go to the pound. But let's talk about the College World Series, Matt. Vandy against Mississippi State. But the big story here was the NC State team getting totally fucked over.
I mean, we had this happen in the Sweet 16 too, right? In basketball, but this is brutal because it was the Final Four, and NC State hadn't lost yet, Bob. So they were, I mean, Vandy would have had to beat them back to back, and instead they're going for defense of their title now. Now Vandy's not a bad team, but you got to feel bad for these kids that again are on scholarship and playing baseball, working their butts off, and Raleigh in the triangle there. And NC State definitely, doesn't get there all the time. And they're not going to get there this year. So we got an all SEC final that I did watch. I caught the Mississippi State and their two games there at the end. And that was pretty exciting. Texas won on Saturday, and then they had to come back and they won in the bottom of the 9th or 10th. Mississippi State did. And by the way, the Mississippi State travels apparently for baseball because everybody in that Omaha stadium was cheering on Mississippi State.
All right, Matt, our friends at Market Rebellion, they put this out regularly. And this is a mentioning tracker for Wall Street bets and what stocks are on the pumpers. I'm sure they're looking at short interest, but Wish was on there, Matt, and Wish getting a bump. I just wanted to just visit it for a second. Over $15 now, 7% so far. I don't even know. What is Wish, Matt?
I don't know. They're internet retailer. So I don't know if they actually have sites or if they do software, but somehow they're worth $9.3 billion. And volume today 125 million. So they're flipping hands here, Bob. They're flipping hands for sure. And the volume's huge. Let me bring up the chart and
bring it up, Matt, because I just want to tell you folks out there a line from my grandfather that I'll never forget.
I traded in early June, this first spike when it went from 7 to 16 on the dark side, and it paid very nicely. I am not involved this time. It's just
you want to see that double top to fade?
I'm not that excited about it, quite honestly. Okay. That to me, because of how cheap it is, this is one that could go to 100. I have no, this is how stupid this market is. I don't want to. I'll fade very parabolic moves, but slow and steady now, which is what this has been doing for the last 3 weeks. I'm not interested, but it's going up every day. This is just the last month. If you look at, you look out a year, again, there's room to go on the momentum side too. So I am a little afraid of this. I would not, I'd fade 30 if it keeps going, Bob.
Right on. Well, my grandfather used to say, wish in one hand and piss in the other, see which one fills up first. So that's important, though, that just because it shows up on the Wall Street bets and you're a short seller, you're starting to learn how to sell short, just because it's there doesn't mean that the setup is ready yet, just because they're piling in. And, if you're looking, not only that, if you're looking for places to join the Wall Street bets crowd, for sure, look at that chart, and it hasn't gone parabolic yet. So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, the other one that the other one that we haven't looked at on that list is an auto parts manufacturer called Workhorse, and this thing again valued at $2 billion. This is a daily chart, so we're going back about a year that you're seeing here. But again, this thing got hammered pretty hard from 42 down to $7 or $8, right? So now that it's doubled again, I guess people are getting excited about it. And this one had a big move the last couple days. and then today. So Workhorse is on that chart, and that one opened up at 18 and is already trading, already off 10% from the high today. So the fast parabolic catch there was there this morning right off the get-go, but again, I did not hit that one, but it's on the list. I've been watching this name too, but I don't love anything right here. There's just not great setups. There's not huge. This one's traded 35 million, which is huge volume. It averages 19, so it's doubled. So the volume's high, higher than it has been, rather. But again, I don't really love this. I don't love anything about this chart from a long or short side. So, when I look at charts like this, I'm like, I don't feel bullish or bearish. I just feel like meh. So it's a meh stock, not a meme stock.
Meh.
It's a meh stock to me. But if you like the Hope and Wish program, you could maybe put that on your shopping list if you want to hope that the meme boys can jack it up for you. It's not
Matt,
not how I trade. I don't hope.
I don't. In the age of ambiguity and what is going on in Chicago, for the city council to, that's what blows me about this. Whether Jean Baptiste Point de Sable is worthy of renaming Lakeshore Drive after him. The city's in shambles. It's unbelievable, crime-wise. I don't know. The age of irony never stops delivering. It never stops delivering.
I wouldn't want to be in Chicago right now. I wouldn't, with with the heat and everything just starting in that place, it's going to be fun this summer, right?
I think there was 40 shot and 2 dead this weekend, but we got a new name for
last night again in New York. Washington Square, they arrested 8, and there was guns, wielded and shielded and all kinds of, because they've been doing all kinds of, they've been having these fight clubs, I guess, in Washington Square, in New York City.
I'm not against Fight Club by any means.
No, but they've been lacing up the gloves and fighting in Washington Square. Nice. So, this is what Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather have done. Now everybody is a sideshow circus. Everybody wants to be a part of the boxing.
Speaking of sideshow circuses, Matt, the venerable New York Times with an article out that Pfizer and Moderna vaccines may protect against the coronavirus for years, even though nobody's had the shot for a year. So they know this. I'm not sure how, but that's not the great part of the study. The study is they come to this conclusion after the study of more than a dozen vaccinated people, which is incredible. That is the threshold.
I don't know.
And what would it say? Let me just point out that it's between 13 and 23 people, right? Because if it was 24 people, the article would have said 2 dozen, but it didn't. It said more than a dozen. So our data point is more than a dozen of they brag about how many millions of people have got the shot. You think you could come up with some contestants for the show more than they did get more than a dozen, but not much more than a dozen because they didn't get 2 dozen. The age of ambiguity, again, it just delivers and delivers and delivers. And for fuck's sakes, I hope that, that they don't just get to do the annuity thing and give you a jab every 6 months because you don't have immunity. But it just fucking blows me away.
The story's falling apart. I don't know about you. I just don't buy the fact that I don't even buy the numbers that they're saying have been vaccinated to begin with. So I don't believe any of it. So I'm already.
Did you share the article on? I think you did. The USA now leads the world in people that don't trust anything coming out of the media.
Yeah.
The originators of free speech now have a population that believes none of it.
None of it. We have become Venezuela, South Africa,
age of ambiguity, and you can believe this though because the CEO said it. Nike is a brand that is of China and for China, which means it's not for the USA. I gotta tell you, I love the Nike tennis shoes that I've been wearing while we've been playing tennis. Actually, tennis shoes like for tennis. As opposed to sneakers or basketball shoes. They're fantastic.
Right.
But somehow I think these type of headlines and this type of optics, yeah, if you want to just sell in China, that's great. If you're going to just be holding to that, that's fine. But in my opinion, there will be a pushback on something like this, and it will show up in price discovery. It hasn't yet. I mean, the stock's through the fucking roof.
Well, they just had he said it after earnings, and I'm sure those earnings showed that the huge piece of that growth, Bob, is actually coming from Chinese consumers. So I'm sure that's why he said it. And they make everything there, so they should be, bowing down and kissing for the cheap labor that they have and all that. So, but I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of Nike shoes myself. They just don't fit me well. They're for runners. They're for skinny ass. But you have a fat ass foot, so I don't get it.
Wait a second though. I mean, I got the 4Xer.
Yeah, I know.
But
4E. I'm surprised.
That's a lot of E's. 4 E's. Fat foot, E-double-E.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, let's get back to price discovery, because we brought this up 2 weeks ago from this Bloomberg article. China's campaign to control commodities goes into overdrive. And the way they were controlling that was by forcing the incredible amount of speculative long interest in commodities, specifically out of China and out of their trading houses and desks. And I said it then, and I'm sticking with it, that you can force the speculator out. That is not, at the end of the day, what drives the price. At the end of the day is I got to fucking eat, and I need some baby back ribs and some, dipping bread for the barbecue. I mean, so the grains have had a big rally today. Last week's pig prices out of China that our friend Jer shared Market Vitals, the biggest gain in a year over that week span. So let me share first just the front hog, because it since that news came out, it had gotten absolutely demolished. Hold on. So that July contract had put in a high just about 124, and they broke them to 100, back to 104.95. They're up a limit today. Not quite. Yeah, I'm not sure if today's a $3 limit or if you have a 450, because we've had expanded limits with that schmeezing. And you see, this is the weekly, and that was the 2 weeks after this news on China. But at the end of the day, if you got to eat, you're going to pay for it. And the speculator the long speculator is not going to dissuade you from that, your need to purchase. Anyway, between this and then all the grains higher today, and whoa.
Yeah, but bring up the beans. They made a new low though. They were washed down. They're trading.
They were. So, but here's the wheat up 13 cents today. Fully rejecting that low momentum level on the weekly. Here's the corn back up over its 13-week moving average, and the beans also actually respecting this bottom that they had put in here, this $13 area. They spent 3 weeks there now. Well, this isn't the full week.
Go show me the X contract there, please. That's the front. I mean, I know that's probably
yeah. No beans is the new crop.
So, these traded down to 1240, and, big bounce off that for sure. That was that 2 weeks ago then, Bob? When we
Yep. Yeah, it all lines up with this headline out of China, because they're such a giant consumer. Let's face it, a giant consumer. And for me, when you take out the don't bet, everybody, we talk about it in the stocks too. They don't want the guy to have the don't bet. Listen to me. The market needs the don't bet. That's all there is to it. Yeah. When oil went from $100 to $150, all the speculators by the end were short. They're the ones selling it and minimizing the explosiveness of the rally. If you don't have speculators to short this thing.
Take a look at Bitcoin again, coming out with the micro, and the thing went bananas, put the halt on that move, because you're able to finally have sellers.
And by the way, another article today, CME, 1 million Bitcoin futures since they launched it at $5 a side. I think we should be buying the Merck stock. Holy fuck. Here's the weekly in Bitcoin. And that momentum level on the weekly, they're just dancing right around it, coming in this week at 34,893. So snuck
Yeah,
up.
they traded down to 30 again over the weekend, and then had, bounced again right up to that 35 level. It's almost like just perfect ping pong right now. The
And
ping
the
pong.
thing
And
that I
the
like about
paddles
this
keep moving-
chart,
they keep moving lower and lower. Like 42 is still above us, but 35, 36 is above us now too, and that keeps holding. So you got to.
there's a breakdown. Speaking of nuance, in general, there's a breakdown in standard deviation trading when the bands just get too far away. There's just too much expansion, and I've looked at them long enough to understand that, wow, that just seems too far away.
Right.
And right now, that lower band actually looks like that to me. To get down to 16,000 seems a bit far-fetched, especially in the next couple of weeks or so.
Right.
What I'm more, my thought process more is this thing just flatline sideways for the next several weeks to maybe months.
I mean, we've done
and we get that move down. That's just kind of what I'm thinking off the top of my head. But for sure, falling away potentiality on this lower band. But man, does that, believe me, if it goes there, that's a whole lot of pain being dished out.
Spent 6 weeks recently, part of 7 really, when it got into this zone, right? That's when it first broke 7 weeks ago. And then if you go back and look at those right where you are,
there's 6 weeks there also.
So there's another 6 weeks. So, that's 3 months of time. So we're working our way through that right now. And I think that's all we're doing is we're busting through. Anybody that wants to keep buying 30, they're eventually going to be wrong here and the thing's going to go lower. So I actually, 18, 19, 20, I still think that's the target. And let me bring up, if you don't mind, just take a look at it here, because I haven't looked at it from that perspective and a little, on a longer term perspective. Again, we know the 35 number, we know the 42 number. Those have been in our crawl here for the last 6-7 weeks. And so we don't need to talk about those. But, what you do see is that we're getting, again, the more times you spend coming down and testing these. And again, this weekend we got down to 30. When this breaks again, you got all these holes. All we're doing is building a solid ceiling is all we're doing here, right? We're building a solid ceiling that it could be the basement, but it would have to get above 42 for that to happen. And I'm still seeing 12,000 in the cards, Bob. I mean, that's just kind of just a matter of when, not if.
Right on, Matt.
Unless it gets back over 42, then you can say that's your basement that should support you. But right now, it's pretty clear that there's no strength in this market. There are a lot of people on the don't side currently. And, over the weekend, Binance UK shut them down.
Yeah, man, let's just be perfectly clear that the dust has not settled, and I don't think it's going to settle for a while on the regulation. The central bank institutions do not want this, right? And so they're working their way through, but then you laugh at it if you want. But El Salvador now has got they're promoting, if you open especially on your phone, I believe it's a phone app for a Bitcoin wallet, they'll give you $30 worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah, they were giving each citizen $30.
$30. And so, technology is one of those things where you're like, yeah, that's great, but it's never going to work. They're never going to give up the power until I forgot to fucking save this because it was an actual ad in a paper of why you shouldn't get a car and why you should keep your horse. It was like an editorial on why the car is long term. The horse is still going to be the best route here. Anyway, Matt, one last thing here, because speaking of China, all things work back together here now. You shared this. Telus dealt a black eye in recall of cars sold in China. 285,000 cars with autopilot issues. And the stock not really caring so much today about this story, but
the stock, as we know, is not about cars. Never has been. I
It's
mean,
about subsidies. Let's just talk, say the word.
Yeah.
Subsidies.
it works well well.
We'll bring it up anyway because I actually thought that this price movement back positive is interesting, but it's not convincing to me by any stretch. For
Yeah,
me, the weekly, you need to recapture UpMo, and that comes in at $701.70 to be fucking exact this week. 701.70, a close above there. Yeah, backing UpMo on the weekly. Maybe they make a run for the highs, but
I
tell
don't
me
know.
what you see on Tesla on the profile.
I mean, you see it here, but the profile says it's still got a date with 99. So, but that's just a 2-year chart. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen fast. But I think when the rest of the market gets schmeezed, if it ever does get schmeezed, it will fall at that point. And obviously 500 is the key level there. 500 goes, it will go quickly to 440. There's a little support here, 400 to 440. That 420 number, of course, was a big number back in the day. And then it doubled got doubly high from 420 up here to 900. So, but the meat is back here, 99 to 200, Bob. So that's the meat of that profile. And, but we're spending a lot of time up here. So we're building another profile up here. The longer we spend, it's kind of almost like what we're talking about, in a lot of these other things. They're just kind of basing out here. It looks, you could say this looks similar to Bitcoin. It got crushed, lost 40, 50, not quite 50%, but 40%, rallied, fell again, tested. It's in the middle of rallying now. A lot of gaps again every day. It's up 11 because it's Monday. And well, the mean boys get excited Monday morning. So we're always gapping up on Mondays. I mean, it's the same thing with all these stocks. Shopify was up big today again, but not new prices. So you're getting these big dollar movers. Last week it hit 1553. It then sold off down here to 1420 or so last week, and then they gapped it up again, and it's already sold off. I mean, it traded as high as 1530 or 1523 today, and it's already down $34, even though it's green 16. So it was up $50. I sold some calls again because the 1,700 strike calls they were giving to me. I sold them at 270 this morning. Thank you. I'll sell those all day.
Bada bing. Bada bingo.
Now,
all right, man, anything else?
They have earnings coming in August 4th. So, I guess they could surprise still. But, this stock has gone just parabolic. I mean, this is all-time highs for Shopify, 185 billion market cap. So, if you're selling ware on anything on the internet, these guys are likely your platform. They are the platform for buying and selling on the internet pretty much today.
Matt, I wanted to see, I'm just looking at is Lamborghini publicly traded, Matt?
I don't think so. Why would you when you can make $200,000 a car?
I just wanted to bring up the graphic. That's all. All right, Matt, that's all I got. Massive Africa hot heat wave in the Pacific Northwest. Holy shit. Oppressive heat. But thankfully, some end in sight. A little bit anyway. Supposed to be 108 today?
Today and tomorrow.
That's Tucson kind of weather. I didn't move to Tucson. I thought.
Yeah, but the difference in Tucson, it only gets down to 95.
This is true.
Here we're still getting down to 60. So we're having the 50 degree swing, but it's already 90 out there right now. I was just out about an hour ago and it was 90 at 9:30. So.
And the only shame is that I don't get to defend my title on the tennis courts as I won for the first time ever. For all you folks out there tracking, the first time ever. All right, Matt.
And well, I think we should at least have a one setter in the heat just to say we did it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Come on. 2 hydro flasks of water. 2 hydro flasks.
I'm going to hydro flask the we're both trying to piss ketones. In fact, I'm starting a punk band called the Pissing Ketones. I can't wait to get to work in studio with my punk repertoire.
First song will be.
And the hardest thing with the ketones, right, Matt, is like tonight when we watch the Stanley Cup game. Like I would usually want to just demolish, 6 beers, no problem. Can't do it. Cannot do it. And be a member of the Pissing Ketones. And I got to stay true to the Pissing Ketones till I get under 200 pounds. I'm not even within striking distance of that yet, but I'm closer than I was before.
Hey, as an update, I've dropped 11, I think, since June 1.
There you go.
Forget about piss and ketones. Just fucking eat meat. Just eat meat.
All right, Matt, thank you so much. I will see you in a while.
All right, Bob.
Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
Please join us at marketvitals.io. Please share and retweet the broadcast. If you listen to it on your favorite streaming platform, please share it willingly and ably. And please, if you'd like to support us, use one of our links, one of our affiliate links to become a better educated trader and or use a platform and or anything that you would care to do. And please reach out to either one of us in the Twitter sphere. If you have any questions, points of rebuttal, anything you'd like, a stock or commodity symbol you'd like us to delve deeply into. And when I say deeply, I mean at least 30 seconds of content around it, because my mind gets made up really quick. All right, Matt, thank you.
Bob, great show today, and we'll chat later.
Right on. It was a great show.